The 2008 recession, also known as the Great Recession, was a period of economic downturn that affected economies around the world. It was the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression of the 1930s, and its effects were felt for years afterwards. The origins of the recession can be traced back to the early 2000s, when the housing market in the United States began to bubble. At the time, interest rates were at historic lows, making it easy for people to borrow money to buy homes. As a result, housing prices began to rise rapidly, fueled by a surge in demand. However, this demand was not sustainable, and it eventually led to a bubble in the housing market. In 2006, the bubble began to burst, as housing prices started to decline and defaults on subprime mortgages started to rise. This, in turn, led to a crisis in the financial sector, as many banks and other financial institutions held large amounts of these subprime mortgages on their balance sheets. As the crisis in the housing market and financial sector deepened, it began to have broader economic effects. Consumer confidence started to fall, and people started to cut back on their spending. This decrease in demand caused businesses to slow down their operations and, in some cases, lay off workers. As a result, unemployment began to rise, and the economy entered into a recession. In response to the crisis, governments around the world took action to try to stimulate their economies. In the United States, for example, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates to historic lows and implemented a number of other measures to try to jumpstart the economy. Other governments took similar steps, including implementing stimulus packages and providing support to struggling industries. Despite these efforts, the recession continued to affect the global economy for several years. Unemployment remained high, and many people lost their homes and savings as a result of the crisis. It wasn't until the latter part of the 2010s that the global economy began to recover, and even then, the effects of the recession continued to be felt in many parts of the world. The 2008 recession serves as a reminder of the importance of sustainable economic growth and the need for careful regulation of the financial sector. It also highlighted the interconnectedness of the global economy, and the fact that a crisis in one part of the world can have far-reaching effects on other parts of the world.